All right, welcome everyone. I'm going to call this a special report. It's a bit of an editorial, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I have Andy Stewart with me, and I've been using his product for well over a year. And to be honest, I stopped using it because my credit card got compromised on the internet, which has happened before. And so I wasn't on the auto pay, and it took me a couple months to catch up. But I really believe in this product, and that's why I'm taking the time to bring this to you. Andy has a website called Get More Tank. I learned about it from my friend, Sons of Liberty, Jim White over in Montana. And he said, man, you've got to try this stuff. It really works. And I was skeptical at first. Comes in a pill form. You add, I think, 2 pills to your first tank, and it does a lot of things. I'm going to let Andy explain it before I keep yapping. Andy Stewart, welcome, and give us a little bit of background, and we'll start getting into Get More Tank and what it does.
Thanks, David. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate everybody taking some time to learn about Get More Tank. Well, Get More Tank is a fuel catalyst, and that works in any gas or diesel engine, literally from leaf blowers to gigantic earth-moving equipment. Get More Tank will help create better fuel efficiency, great fuel efficiency, and clean your engine and keep it clean at the same time to extend the life of your engine. I'll explain how the science of it works, but there's some confusion because some people think, oh, this is like a fuel additive with the same kind of junk that you get at a chain auto parts store. And that's not true. It's not an additive. It's really important to get the difference in between additives and catalysts. And that's what Get More Tank is. Get More Tank is a fuel catalyst. And what it does is it starts the combustion process earlier in than what an additive does or without it, because it has an oxidizing agent. And of course, to get the fuel to turn from a liquid into energy, it has to be burned. And that's why they call them combustion engines. So what Get More Tank does, first of all, is it starts the combustion process earlier so that it uses up all of the fuel. There's nothing left over coming out of your tailpipe or particulates left over in the combustion process to clog up your engine. And that's why when you use up all the fuel, you actually don't have to go to the gas station that often or fuel it up. You actually increase your fuel efficiency by 15 to 20%. So as an example, my wife and I used to get our cars filled up every Saturday. We were on a routine. And so Saturdays would be the day we'd drop by the gas station, fill up our cars. And now we're going about every 10 days. So we've almost eliminated every month one trip to the gas station. So we're saving somewhere. My fuel tank has 18 gallons. She's got 16 gallons. So we're saving about 34 gallons a month right off the bat in fuel savings, because Get More Tank is just making sure that we're using up all the gas in our tank and nothing's left over. The other thing that Get More Tank does is it cleans out the particulates that are clogging up your engine, which also robs you of your fuel performance and your overall engine performance. That's why we recommend that you use 2 tablets on the first fill up, because it accelerates the process of cleaning out your engine, which has to happen first. And generally speaking, after about 100 miles, you start if you come to a stoplight or a stop sign and then you tap the gas pedal again, you have a little bit more giddy up than what you remember. Maybe it's like the first time you drove it off the lot when you bought the car new, because the engine's cleaned out and now it can run. I've had people. I had a guy who had a 2009 Buick that had something like 215,000 miles on it, and when he first filled it up and used Get More Tank in it, he sat in his driveway. He was about a mile from the gas station, and by the time he got home, he was in his driveway. There's all this black smoke was coming out of his tailpipe. He said, I just sat in my driveway for about 20 minutes and black smoke just came out of my tailpipe. He said it cleaned out the engine. I mean, that's how dirty my engine was. But after that, once it stopped spewing out the black smoke, his engine, he could tell right away, was performing better. So the beautiful part about this is that it not only is providing more fuel efficiency, it's also cleaning out your engine, which is going to extend the life of your engine. So it removes all the junk in there. And the other part of it is that, as I said, it combusts the fuel earlier, which means it's actually combusting the fuel at a lower temperature. And what do machines hate? They hate heat and dirt. So by removing the dirt and lowering the temperature at which your fuel is combusting, you're extending the life of your engine by some measurable degree, and also probably saving you trips to have some service guy, some service tech work on your engine because something's breaking down. And it's breaking down.
Let me stop you there. I hate to interrupt, but I mean, you do oil change because of that carbon buildup that goes from the engine into the oil. So if you're burning, let's say as a thought experiment, super clean, I'm not saying you should do the manufacturer's recommended oil change every 3,000 miles, whatever your manufacturer says, but it makes sense, right? If you're not throwing this much dirty carbon into the system, you're going to be able to have cleaner oil for a longer period of time, correct?
Well, that's one of the dramatic parts about this. They actually did an experiment. There's a lubricant also. There's several other parts to get more tank besides the oxidizing agent. And one of them is it has a lubricant for your engine. They did an experiment. Now, this is many years ago. They took two Chrysler Sebrings, which Chrysler doesn't make anymore, but they took two Chrysler Sebrings, and they drained it of all of the oil. In fact, they removed the oil plug, and they drove them from Long Beach, California to Florida, side by side. And so it's 3,000 miles, and nothing happened. The engines performed perfectly because Get More Tank they were using Get More Tank. So I'm not recommending you drive your engine without engine oil, but just to prove the point that this lubricant works so well, and keeps your engine oil extremely clean. Yes, you don't need to go running to the instant oil change every 5,000 or 6,000 miles, whatever people do. I get mine changed I have a 2009 Volvo, which actually I found this out later, as a Land Rover engine. I get it changed once a year. That's all I need to do is go about once a year. And the guys who do the oil change, if the oil was really ugly, they would tell you. They say, "Look, this has been pretty bad." They don't say a word.
Come in more often, yeah. You're not doing it often enough.
Yeah. So I do. If so, you have and make sure that you want to check your engine oil whenever you're at the gas station every now and then. But that is a really important point, is that because of the lower temperature, you're not going through and deteriorating your engine oil as quickly. There's a couple other parts. I'll just hit these headlines and we can dive into the parts that interest you the most, David. There's also Get More Tank also has a fuel stabilizer element in it. So, for instance, if you can use this in your lawn equipment like I do, and then you're supposed to go out and get some a chemical also at the chain auto store that stabilizes your fuel and reconstitute it every spring, whatever fuel you got left over in your lawnmower or your lawn equipment. I don't have to do that. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, I got on my John Deere rider mower, and I hadn't run it since October. And I got on it, and I turned the ignition, and it started up like I just started it an hour ago. It was beautiful. And that happens every spring. And then the other part about this is that if you have a diesel engine, especially if you're a trucker, you have to use a product called DEF to help eliminate water buildup in diesel fuel. In those gigantic diesel fuel tanks, I learned this from the guys that Get More Tank. The guys who make Get More Tank. The when diesel fuel's in those gigantic holding tanks, water starts to collect at the top. And when those holding tanks are drained and it's transported out to the fuel stations, that water stays in there. So truckers are used to having to add a product called DEF to eliminate the extra water in diesel. Well, you don't need to do that because Get More Tank already has a DEF-like chemical in it to eliminate any extra water in your fuel. So it's really an amazing product. It does so many different things. It oxidizes, it lubricates, it stabilizes your fuel, and if you're running diesel, it eliminates the water buildup in your diesel fuel.
I think we've covered almost everything I want to. I don't want to make this too long, but I do want to re-comment on what you just said, Andy, because this is what saved me the most money. First of all, my truck, it gets around 10 miles to a gallon. It's called a thirsty Dodge. And first or second time I used Get More Tank, I was able to make it from Spokane to the Montana cabin without having to refill on the way. So that's a big deal, especially in a bug out situation, if there is such a thing. And just the inconvenience, you're almost where you want to be, and doggone it, you got to, pull out and get in a car. It's really, that's because I get about 20 miles per gallon from 10 to 12. 12 is crappy gas mileage. But in that particular circumstance, it's huge for me. The other one that saves me the most money is my lawn equipment / garden equipment. I've got 2 weed whackers, a riding lawnmower, a push lawnmower, 2 chainsaws, and a couple of weed whackers, the hip style. Well, almost every year for the last 3 or 4 years, I've had to go in and get the carburetors cleaned out because of the crappy ethanol gas that were used. So I do buy non-ethanol now, but even with the stabilizers, so just putting in, I guess, a quarter of a tablet in a little small tank like that, saving me like every time. And I had a Honda brand new push mower, used it for 1 season and it wouldn't start. And I was so upset. And the guy said, no, that's my whole business. The gas is so bad that also my whole business is having to redo carburetors on lawnmowers because of the gas. So I just had to throw that in there because we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago before we wanted to do this public service announcement for everybody. You can believe it or not. So let's talk about, the skeptics out there. I buy it on a regular basis, continue to buy it. I love it. But what about the person, it doesn't work or I don't like it? Do they get a money back or what's the situation?
Well, I don't have a money back on it, but this is who should not buy Get More Tank. If you've got a brand new engine, it's not going to help you because your engine's already clean. The one thing I would recommend using it is to keep your engine clean, but you're not going to see any additional fuel mileage or performance if you have a brand new car or truck. It's not going to help that, but it will keep it clean and preserve it. So the main thing is to use it. It takes about 3 tanks in your car before your onboard computer recognizes the fuel mileage. You may actually notice not going to the gas station quicker than that, but you have to understand that your computer is running on history, not on something that's current. So you have to let this go through 3 tanks at least before the onboard computer will show you have higher miles per gallon and you're going to the gas station less. But other than that, this works. I mean, it can't help but work. If you've got an engine that's got any sort of mileage on it, it has particulate buildup, this will clean it out and get your engine back to performing the way it's supposed to. I've had guys who have 200, 300,000 miles on a car that they don't want to give it up. They put this Get More Tank in it, and it's like it's a rebirth for them. They get to keep the car that they love.
Well, stay on a bit skeptical side, Andy. This is my thought. Buy 1 packet, get your 4 tablets, try it out in your lawnmower, your car, your diesel, whatever, and kind of prove it. I guess it would take at least 1 packet. All I'm suggesting is maybe you try before you buy. In other words, it's so cheap and it far exceeds what you pay for it in benefits. You could try it and then prove it. And then once it's proved, then get on a regular monthly or 6 week, whatever your driving case is, to get it sent to you. I mean, I don't want to miss it. And if I get an overload, of tablets because I haven't driven much that month, I always seem to catch up because I'll do a long road trip to Las Vegas or see my sister in Reno or go to LA or whatever that case may be. On the other hand, once in a while, I'll just give a packet or a couple tablets to somebody and say, hey, try this out. I had a friend that pulled the lawnmower, mowed some weeds, ran out of gas, used some gas that was a couple years old, wouldn't start, stuck about a quarter tablet in there, went and had lunch, came back, switched it around, the damn thing started up. So, I'm a true believer. So where do people go to find out more, Andy?
You go to getmoretank.com. And when you go there and when you made the decision to buy it, I want you to make sure to use David's promo code, which is silver, and you'll get 10% off. Now, Get More Tank retails for $22.22. When you use David's silver promo code, it becomes an even $20. And if you subscribe after trying it, you get 10% off. So you can pick your subscription cycle, a month, 4 week, a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however you want to do it. It's fine. And if you want to message me directly, I answer all the emails that come through. Maybe not right away, but I know when you're contacting me, and I'll try to answer any of your questions. But Get More Tank. I was very skeptical, just like David was. I mean, people are very cautious about what they're putting in their gas tank. I know I was too. But after spending time with it and eventually trying it, I've been sold. And I started Get More Tank because of I found this and I said, this is a great product that well, let me about the skeptics. The people who make this have $1 million liability policy that they took out. And they've been making it for over 20 years. They've never even had a claim. So in fact, they only took out the policy as a way to prove to the skeptics that, that you can't hurt your engine. You're not going to hurt your engine by using this. You're not going to damage your car at all by using this. So there's $1 million. Somebody wants to try to prove that Get More Tank, it damaged it. Good luck.
Okay. Well, I am so grateful that I was introduced to it. I appreciate your time coming on board to, the Morgan Report. I'll call it Special Edition and Get More Tank. And I recommend, especially now with what's going on in the energy sector, Strait of Hormuz, we won't go into that. But even in great times, it'd be wonderful to get better mileage, preserve your engine, maybe have less oil changes. And certainly on the stuff that drives me nuts, the lawn equipment that I have to rebuild every year, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So, Andy, thank you again. I'll let you close out if you have any final thoughts.
No, David, it's great to work with you, and I really hope people try it. And I'm looking forward to meeting your followers.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.